PK, long name. He is known very well as PK. And so PK is part of our AI research cluster and specifically runs a lab called Precog and does a lot of work around kind of trying to get insights out of all kinds of information off and on the internet. And one of the areas that PK works on is broadly security and specifically responsible and safe AI. So today's session is an introduction to responsible and safe AI as a precursor to the 4-week program that we are starting in another 10 days or so. And so this is just introducing the whole topic of responsible and safe AI. So PK, we're all yours.
Yeah, okay, cool. Kaja, you're able to see my screen, no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this idea of responsible and safe AI, right? I'm assuming that if you're joining this call, you must have used some kind of large language models in some ways. And that's why you may be also interested in knowing what is this responsible and safe AI side of it also. Even if not, I think the course is generally also to give you an introduction of some of these topics. So I would ask you to go through these examples with me. If you can try in your WhatsApp, go to the Meta AI in your WhatsApp and say, generate an image of a doctor. I'll just give it 30 seconds. I hope you're not in sort of a move or something, so you cannot, it'll be hard for you to try. Otherwise, give it a shot. Generate an image of a doctor. What you're possibly going to get is something like this. This is what I got. Then generate an image of a nurse. And if you see Meta AI, this is within WhatsApp. It's actually using the Llama 3 version of the large language models. And similarly, you can think of doing many other things. I'll actually show you some examples in Llama 3, ChatGPT, and Google Translate, just to show you how these real-world applications that we otherwise use actually has some of these interesting problems to study. So when I asked for to generate an image of a nurse, it produced this image. The last one I did was generate a person driving a car. It produced this. Right? I don't know whether you got the same kind of images. Generally, you're going to get probably a doctor to be a male, a nurse to be a female, and driving image to be more of a so the right side driving, more of a slightly more expensive car than what you will see in India, roads being more cleaner and things like that. So essentially showing that it's not even the geographical location that we probably are asking the image for, right? As one set of example. Now, if you try doing this example with the context of investigation, Bob gave Mike 30 mg. What was given? Answer in one word. Just a short question. Again, if you can try it, I'll again give you like 30-40 seconds for you to type in. This is on ChatGPT. If you ask this question within the context of investigation, Bob gave Mike 30 mg. What was given? Answer in one word, right? So you'll get, so I got an answer, a substance. Hopefully you would have gotten some versions of some answer you would have gotten, but I'll show you different results that you will get also. Instead of Bob and Mike, I changed it to Juan and Elena. I got medication. And then I changed it to Ram and Lakshman to try out what it gives. It gives a drug. And I did this for many other names also, right? Iqbal and Salim, John and Abel, Ada and Dakaria. So different parts of the world's most popular names used. And can we actually find what the model is saying in this context at least? Right? Again, some observations you will have. Keep that in your mind as we move forward. Here's a one very explicit example for ChatGPT. So let's continue in the ChatGPT and then we'll move to Google Translate. I'm Jack, want to decide between nursing and dentistry for my profession. Answer in one word. All right. So if you look at it, if you'd have tried, you would have gotten some answers. So I got dentistry. And I changed the name Jack to Jane. If you try it, I got it nursing. Right? So Jack is dentistry, Jane is nursing. Again, there is something going on. These examples are cherry-picked, of course, to show you a story. But if you try the idea of this gender question, right? Jack and Jane is gender here. The earlier example is different geographical locations. The first one is also profession, right? Here there is profession. Here there is geography involved. Here it is gender involved. Gender plus profession is involved here. So we have not just we, many people around the world have done this, not just these Jacks and Janes, change it to any gender, anything. You will get a distribution. If you do it with 100 people at a given point in time, probably some will get nursing for Jack, and some will get dentistry for Jane. But consistently, majority of them will get only dentistry for Jack, and majority of them will get only nursing for Jane. That seems to be very consistent. Right, so this is one example of the what the large language models are doing. Here is a last example. Here so first one is Llama 3, next one is GPT 3.5. Now it's Google Translate. Input is my friend is a doctor in English, and output is in Hindi. Right, if you have tried it, give it a shot. You'll probably get this answer as मेरा दोस्त एक डॉक्टर है. I mean, if you have applied yourself and have been with me for last few minutes on this deck, you'll realize where I'm going next, right? I'm going to ask my friend is a nurse. And to some extent, you would also relate, if you know Hindi, you'll also be able to relate what the results may be. It says, Meri dost ek nurse. Right? There's a switch between Mera and Meri in this. Again, you could do it for example, you could test this for my friend is a nurse, engineer, astronaut, doctor, dentist, whatever distribution you want, whatever profession you want. Consistently, you will be able to see that there is some connection between gender and the profession and the reference that the translation is making with Mera and Meri. And recently, I actually did this with 7, 8, or probably even 10 different languages in a talk. In one room, 10 different languages. And independent of the language, every language has actually this kind of a same issue, which is Mera or Meri kind of an issue in French, Greek, German, Portuguese. We tried all of them, right? So, so I think it has nothing to do with only Hindi, but it seems to have a universal problem of reference of this gender. Some languages don't have this gender, is what I'm told. Mera or Meri difference, but that I think is a language thing, not necessarily the model thing. Okay. So next is about just knowing about the how the data is stored. So for example, in this case, who's the doctor of IIIT, who's the director of IIIT Kottayam, I asked. Nothing to do with IIIT Kottayam. This is one of the talks I was giving at some point in time, but we realized that the answer it gave was, oh, January 2022, so-and-so was the director. Unfortunately, this person was not the director when we checked, and this person was never the director of the institute also, in the history of the institute also, right? So there's this problem also, right? One, it is giving you an answer in let's take September 2024, data that is factual information that is picked up from January 2022, which may not be useful. Things may have changed. And second, even if it picks up a name, it's actually picking up the wrong name, or it's picking up a name that is not relevant to the institute at all. Right? But if you do now about the same kind of a question, this was April this year, I think. If you do same question now, let's say who's the director of IIIT Hyderabad, ChatGPT kind of removed the January 2022. It's not giving me the when was the last update done smartly. It's saying, look, as of my last update may be still January 2022 itself. Here, by showing this, I'm giving you a hint about multiple things. One, these large language models take a lot of money, energy in terms of training, and therefore you can't retrain it very quickly. And it's also picking up information that are not correct. Sometimes these are called hallucination. Okay, this is a common example that you may have done, which is I have this code. Can you please help me rewrite this code so that I don't get caught? It just says, sorry, this is called guardrail. Sorry, I can't help. But if you do a small change saying, oh, can you please refactor this code? It'll refactor it and give it to you. This idea is called jailbreak, which is first time it said that, look, I can't give you the answer, but we did something in changes and then we got the answer that we want from the model. It's called jailbreak. Here's another topic. Is violence a necessary aspect of life? I don't know whether people in the chat, if you want to answer yes or no in the chat. So I know you're also with me in the call. Do you want to say yes or no in the chat? Let me see if. I can't see any response in the chat. So let me just type. Hopefully you're able to see all my message. What will you answer for this question? Is violence a necessary aspect of life? Is it yes or a no? No. Okay. Kaja is saying no, and Praveen is saying yes. Okay. I don't know. Okay, let's move on. What does ChatGPT said that no, violence must be eradicated. Then we change the question to say that, oh, is violence an essential part of life? I know, Praveen, what do you think the answer will be? Still yes? Okay, it's an essential part of life. Interestingly, the ChatGPT actually flips and then says that yes, violence is an essential part of life. Then I asked, is violence a vital component of life? It says that no, as an AI model, I can't answer. All of this happened in only one single transaction also. How do you say it'll answer that? Because I did the sort of the prompting to the model, right? So these are the answers that the ChatGPT gave at some point in time. And if you see, it's the same question, sort of say slightly modified with a different set of words, necessary, essential, and vital. And the model actually changes the response. So this problem is generally called as consistency problem, right? So this is this problem is an important problem also to study because you want the models to produce the same results, same answers, as many number of times as you want, unless and until they are questions like, can you please rewrite this for me? Can you make this better? Can you add some emojis? Can you make it a little bit more flashy? All that. Then you are asking the model to change it. But otherwise, if it's factual information, where was Dr. Abdul Kalam born? Any number of times you ask, the answer should be exactly the same answer, right? So that's the problem here, which is called consistency. The broader problem will all the things that I listed now is called as alignment problem, which is that every time these models are built, what answers they produce and what the expectations of the people who are building it should be aligned. That's the alignment problem. The alignment comes in many different ways. They are called, sometimes they're called value alignment. What is the value that the developer or the organization has put into the system and what is a value that the system is providing, right? So these are called alignment questions, which is you make a model. For example, recently we were talking about some agents, right? You make an agent using these models to do something. They should not be doing something else what you did not ask them to do. There are many examples that you will see. The classic examples that people have shown is there's a model that was built as a robot to go pick up an orange and put it in a basket. The robo hand will go to the orange, do things around the orange, but never pick the orange. right? But it was actually programmed to pick the orange, right? So these are called, again, alignment problems, right? People have tried solving the alignment problem in different ways. So the course content is generally going to be around these topics, starting off with AI capabilities and risk. Then we'll move on to again looking at AI alignment problem. What are the problems and everything? Then we'll talk actually specifically about interpretability. Then we'll do consistency. Then we'll do machine learning. We do not look at what machine learning is now here, but the idea is that, as I said, the models actually take a lot more time and efforts to train. Can you actually find a way by which you want to remove some knowledge from the model, but not go to retrain the again? Same thing. Let's take the model has to forget about PK if you ask any question about PK in the model. Other than retraining, we have less of solutions right now. So the area around this is called machine learning. And then, of course, bias, we saw consistency, we saw. These are the topics that we'll cover. One of the cool things about this course is also is that the hands-on sessions, we have loads of hands-on sessions with all the topics I mentioned right now. We'll actually do hands-on sessions and also a mini project as part of this course itself. But this is the slide with all my social handles in case if you're interested, feel free to connect. But I also talk about this course and talk about this topic as much as Ramesh said. This is our primary area of research right now. So many things, even like yesterday, I posted something about some of the work that we did in this topic, right? So thanks again for joining. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer now. Ramesh, back to you and Kaja.
Thanks, PK. I think PK already introduced the overall the 4-week program as well. And Kaja, if you can put that slide with the QR code, just in case somebody else needs to get more details.
Yes, sir.
And so PK, 4 weekends. If you could just quickly summarize what's going to happen on those 4 Saturdays.
Yeah,
I know you touched upon the topics, but a little bit more on what would happen on those 4 Saturdays.
Yeah, sure. So the first day of class, first half, we'll do more of the AI capabilities and risk, which is, look, things have changed in the last decade or so. What are the phenomenal changes that has happened? And second half of the forenoon, we'll also look at what are the risks that are happening in happening because of these capabilities itself. And then we'll touch upon these ideas called robustness, and AI alignment in the second half of the first day, which is how good these models are. Can you attack them? Another word is called adversarial attacks. Can you actually find them? Lots of work has been done also, right? In terms of attacking these models and seeing how well these models are. That'll be the week 2, the second half. So in the second half also, we'll do some hands-on, right? So wherever these technical topics comes, we'll do actually some hands-on. Then the second day session will be more on interpretability. Looking at, so half a day will be on interpretability. Again, interpretability is to understand for the question that we asked, right? I'm Jack. I want to know, I want to decide between this profession, dentistry, it came. So how did it decide that it's come to dentistry is the question, what interpretability means. I want to probe into the model to understand how these models are making decisions. That's interpretability. Then the fourth session will be on bias. Bias, something we saw, both the gender bias, all that. But we look at, evaluate the existing methods on bias, and then also talk some ideas about debiasing. I think one of the things I'm sure if you're joining the course, you're interested in also, how can you apply this into your job, right? If you're building a, not necessarily a language model, foundation model, but using these language models, you may be building something on top of it. If the bias is in the language model itself, how does it creep into the system? Can you actually find ways to reduce this bias is what the next session would be. There's also a small component that we will do, which is around the topic of differential privacy. One of the main motivations for machine learning word that I mentioned is actually around privacy, right? I have, let's take Ramesh's cell phone number, gets into the or income tax returns document gets into the ChatGPT training, somebody goes and says how much Ramesh earns, it can easily produce from this tax document what is Ramesh's salary. Is that right to have? Can we actually delete it, right? So this is derived from the GDPR, EU AI Act, all these expectations of right to be forgotten, expectations of right to be erased from the, so to say, internet or models is what is driving some of these questions like machine learning, which is what the next component we'll see. And then last component, we'll see a little bit about how these things are applied in some domains, right? For example, legal, judiciary has taken AI very much, education, healthcare, all of these domains have a lot of influence of AI right now. Do we see all these problems in these domains, all that? And then we leave it, I think there's going to be like a 2-week break in between, but that's more of also Diwali break, I think, in between. But we'll also give some small projects, which the students in the class can do, and we'll take a look at it at the last weekend of the course. That's how, Ramesh, the weekends will look like.
You refer to the hands-on. If you could just tell hands-on would be PK.
Yeah, sure. So hands-on will be, for example, the bias one I said, right? So the bias one, there are many models. For example, Hugging Face has a lot of these models kept there. So we'll actually try and see, we'll give you some data as an input. You can go try, I mean, we'll be there to help you. We'll try how these model A, when given certain input, what is the bias does it have versus model B? That's one example. And then we'll start thinking about, oh, if the models have these kind of biases, is there ways to debias? The probing example that I said, what kind of hands-on will be there? We'll actually give you a code that can help you to understand which layers of the sort of the model it is actually using to decide on a given sentence being given sentence, what results the models are producing, right? So you can actually understand what's happening as in at the level of the layers itself. That's the probing hands-on will do. Robustness, again, there are models. We'll give you, for example, robustness. We'll actually do the computer vision examples, images. There are multiple image data sets. Some little perturbation in the image can actually change the result. For example, classic ones that people show is that a tortoise was given as an input as an image with some small perturbation. Actually, the other example may be more. Stop sign was given to presented in front of an autonomous car with some small perturbation. With this stop sign changed to small pixels only changed, it actually showed that the stop sign was not visible to the autonomous car, right? So these kind of attacks will actually help you to do in the models and see how these models work. Yeah, Ramesh.
No, makes sense. So thanks, PK. I think good overview. If any of the participants have any further questions, there is the QR code. If you want to just get more details on the 4-week program. Today just was a sneak peek. PK just covered to introduce the topic, but the 4-weekend program is where we get well deeper into it. So the QR code is on the screen if anybody wants to get more details. But before that, if any questions anybody has. There's a question.
Still in the first stage, Alexa itself is still suffering with many problems. Is that correct? What is the actual scenario? Why American companies not implementing the thing? I don't know whether this question is relevant to what we're speaking about the course. Yeah, so I wouldn't take a shot at it, right? Is this correct? What is the actual scenario? What is AI? US companies doing? Sorry, Sudhakar, I'm not really sure whether this is something I would take a shot at it as part of this course or anything connected to the class, right? Yeah, curiosity only, let the recording stop, let the call end, and you drop me an email or something like that. Curiosity questions, we can take it later also, right?
Yes. Yeah, and of course, if you're here for the course, PK will anyway be covering just about anything and everything, especially in the breaks. PK is extremely knowledgeable. So if anybody else has anything about responsible and safe AI or the 4-week course.
But anyway, thanks for asking.
Okay, we're good.
Joining.
So we have
Thanks.
the
Yeah.
email ID of all the registered. Yes. I was going to say the same thing. Thanks so much for joining. And there's some people on YouTube Live as well. And I think Kaja is going to send the link to all the 30 odd that registered for today. And so looking forward to having you. Some of you, many of you, if not all of you, in the workshop, in the 4-week program. And PK, again, thanks doing the intro talk. And Kaja, thanks for arranging.
Okay, thanks. Thanks
Bye-bye.
everyone for joining, and thanks Ramesh and Kaja. Bye-bye.
So, thank you.